Thank you very much, Ali. And that was quite amazing and quite timely because we're already short of time. And now we come towards the question answer session. And for that, I would like to request Faisal Nadeem, who's the director, Dorman Group, to please come on the podium and invite all the questions. We have a couple of our people with microphones. So whoever needs to ask a question, just raise your hand. My guy will target you and you can raise a question to any of the panelists who are sitting on the stage, may it be related to any topic of discussion or presentation that you've attended so far. So the house is open to you. After that, we will have the shield distribution ceremony, and we will keep this session of question and answer session only 15 minutes long. So please be quick. So whatever you want to ask, please come forward.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Actually, I want to ask the question for the zoning of the mall. How important it is this, and especially this question is belong to the Mount Hills. So I just wanted to ask how important the zoning of the mall to like circulate your customer. So this is the question that I have to ask.
So there was some changes in the zoning. To start with, yes, usually when we do the planning of the mall, we do the zoning, different areas. When you go to the family, you have the cinema, or you have to the restaurant. Today, the trend that the aggressive segregation is start becoming dated because the profile of the new consumer, you have lots of now very young parents where you don't really need to put the kids zone far away from the men and the women clothes. You have some families where they want to go for a restaurant or they want to watch the movie, they can't really leave their kids in some of the planning area. So the planning or the zoning is very important. However, the new patterns of zoning is different than the old patterns. In the old days, we used to put, as we say, the kids area in one section, we put the family in another section, men and women in different section. We realized that the families, they shop at once. Means you don't really send your kids or you don't really go to buy something for the kids and then you say, okay, next month I will buy for myself. You like to see everything at once. So we start really doing the new zoning patterns based on the needs or what the jobs to be done rather than the customer profile in terms of age zone. Definitely we still put the driving or the destinational anchors like the cinema and the family entertainment and the higher floors because people, they come as destination, they don't really bump into a cinema while they are purchasing. That's in itself a separate and focused journey. And we position the anchors in the two ends so people, they move between the anchors. And this movement will make the line shops between these two anchors survive so you can see a lot of things while you are doing this journey. Still, the ground floor and the first floor is the preferred for the fashion and the high revenue per square footage. Still, the electronics and the entertainment and the cinema is the higher floors because it's a destination by itself. How you position also the parking start becoming a big item in terms of shopping mall or the zoning within the mall itself because the entrances from the parking will determine how the flow of people. And some of the countries also we can see that the pedestrian movement coming to the mall more than the vehicular movement. In the GCC area or the tropical area where the weather factors is bad, it doesn't really allow pedestrian around the year. Of course, people, they use more vehicular things. The new trends in Asia is to put the parking and the rooftop or in the structure parking in the next to the building. So you don't really come from the basement because if you come from the basement until you reach the third or the fourth floor, because in Asia they have vertical malls, it will be a long journey. Now they are putting it either next to the building or in the rooftop. So the first floor, as we call it, the first floor, starts becoming ground floor because that's where you plug in immediately.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
Faisal, you.
Before we move on to the crowd, I'd like to ask a few questions as well. First to Biju. I'll sort of cheat here because I was part of your discussion last year. And in that you mentioned something which I thought was very interesting, and if you can give a couple of minutes to that. And this is what you describe as ethnic luxury. So when we normally talk about luxury, we talk about the Louis Vuittons or the Gucci's or the Armani's, but there's a big sector of luxury which is more to do with what you do locally or the ethnic side. So if you can give just 2 minutes of insight on what ethnic luxury is, and I think it will be good, enlightening thing for everyone to know.
Yeah. I think since you were part of last year's presentation, I used that. When I talk about ethnic luxury, it's about luxury purchases. Sometimes, in fact, these luxury purchases assume the level of brands, which are very dear to the customer segments in that particular market. So, for example, if I were to look at jewelry, you have the Harry Winstons, you have the Grafs of the world, who are luxury brands. But on the other hand, there are several stores where you might have very, very compellingly designed products, prices of which might be far more than what you'd pay for a Harry Winston or a Graf, which you buy locally. That's one. The second is in terms of designer wear, and this is more so in our part of the world, largely because if you look at luxury apparel, the cuts and the silhouettes are largely designed for Western women, if I were to look at women. Men is not so much of a challenge, and consequently, there is, in choice of colors, in choice of embellishments, these don't really, capture the attention of the women, especially, let's say, if you look at South Asia. So consequently, you have designers, local designers, depending on the country, who are able to create this kind of luxury wear at price points which are far higher than what you'd pay for a Gucci dress. Yet, on the other hand, the customer wouldn't really look at the Gucci brand, but would look at a local brand. These are, just a couple of examples of what I might define as ethnic luxury, where luxury is the mindset. First of all, the budget is luxury, but you're not looking for a luxury brand name, though you might be making a luxury purchase.
Thank you, Biju. My next question is Mr. Amir Paracha. And when we look at Western markets, we look at a lot of these, when you look at real estate and how you display FMCG products. So yes, there's the big hypermarket, there's the superstores, but then we also have different sort of retail and real estate combining in terms of the 7-Elevens and the different sort of petrol pump convenience stores and things like that. So in your opinion, what's the one or two areas which Pakistan is lacking behind in terms of real estate for FMCG products? Or is that something which you feel that should eventually migrate on to more towards the digital side of things?
Thank you. So globally, what's happening is big box stores are actually getting under big challenge. And I've talked about like Walmarts and the Tesco's and Morrison's and Sainsbury's. And there's a new concept coming of the proximity buying, which we call the mom and pop stores, or like you touched upon, the 7-Elevens. And I think so what in Pakistan clearly we are seeing from data is that mohalla stores are actually now growing again. Because in urban market, the road congestion is becoming a big issue. The people are basically now don't want to move from one end of the city to another end, and they prefer to basically buy within the close range. So what is actually Pakistan soon will be seeing is there are going to be chains coming in the mohalla chains. At the moment, they're all independent. There are no chains in mohalla sector, and we are expecting that happening. For example, Spar is, I think so they're about to open 3 stores in Karachi next week. And that's one chain coming in. That's not really mohalla, but it's around 2,000 square feet store. So that's a chain coming in, and I think, 7-Eleven kind of stores may basically soon step in and, start buying mohalla, converting them into a chain, and offering one standardized offering. So I think so that's Pakistan is going to be soon seeing when it comes to the mohalla chains.
In terms of digital growth, do you see that something with grocery shopping moving on to digital, and at what pace at the moment?
Yep, I think that still continues to be a challenge when it comes to grocery. Not only in Pakistan, even globally. In India, for example, bigbasket.com or flipkart.com, they tried basically spending grocery, but they discounted. As a consequence, the entire market devalued and they didn't earn anything out of it. So I think the last mile delivery challenge continues to be there, and the different e-retailers are still experimenting how to deliver the grocery items at a margin. They end up doing, but it happens at discount and it's not sustainable. So it continues to be a challenge. There's not a single e-retailer who actually cracked the model yet.
And lastly, I'd like to ask Mr. Ali, when we look at the online systems, the digital markets, or in fact even physical parts, we talk about, for example, the starting, which is the product, and endpoint, which is a shop or a customer. But then there's a huge chain of an ecosystem which is part of the process. And especially in online retail, what we see is that there is a big gap at the moment between when you click and what you receive, how you receive, when you receive, and meeting that customer expectations. So in terms of those challenges, what are the key challenges you feel is something which can affect the customer experience, and what can be done about those?
Perfect. That's kind of exactly what we touched on. There is exactly this massive change from when you look and feel something online to when you receive it. Hence, our focus is driving customers into a store. We think Pakistan is still a little far behind with cash on delivery and getting the process flow going and payments and everything else. We want to get customers into the store. So our focus with our app and our products and everything else we do is making sure we can get customers into a local store so they can go, feel, touch, and continue that experience offline. I think it's blending online and offline is kind of what we are focused on. And that's where we think the markets are going globally, and that's where we think the market's going to go in Pakistan as well.